Hi, good day. My name is Reginalyn Baniqued, and now I'm gonna discuss the parts and function of the cell. So first, what is cell? Cell is the smallest unit that can live on its own and that makes up all living organisms in the tissues of the body. A cell defined as the smallest basic unit of life that is responsible for all of life processes. Cells are the structural, functional, and biological units of all living beings. There are two broad categories of cells, which is the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cells. So first, what is prokaryotic cells? Prokaryotic cells, it comprise bacteria and archaea. Their genetic material is not stored within a membrane-bound nucleus. Prokaryotic cell is a single-celled microorganism known to be the earliest on Earth. Parts of prokaryotic cell which include the plasma membrane, cytoplasm, cell wall, and capsule. Plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the border between the interior and exterior of a cell. The primary function of the plasma membrane is to protect the cell from its surroundings. The plasma membrane, also called the cell membrane, is the membrane found in all cells that separates the interior of the cell from the outside of environment. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a gel-like substance composed mainly of water that also contains enzymes, salts, cell components, and various organic molecules. The cytoplasm is to help to fill out the cell and keeps organelles in their place. Next is cell wall. The cell wall is an outer covering that protects the bacterial cells and gives it shape. A cell wall is a fairly rigid layer surrounding a cell located outside of the plasma membrane that provides additional support and protection. A major function of the cell wall is to give the cell strength and structure and to filter molecules that pass in and out of the cell. And the next is capsule. Capsule found in some bacterial cells. This additional outer covering protects the cell when it is engulfed by other organisms, assists in retaining moisture, and helps the cell adhere to surfaces and nutrients. The capsule helps prokaryotic cells cling to each other into various surfaces in the environment, and also helps prevent the cell from drying out. Next is the eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells are organisms whose cells have a nucleus enclosed within a nuclear envelope. Eukaryotic cells have a membrane-bound nucleus. Eukaryotic cells is any cells or organism that possesses a clearly defined nucleus. The eukaryotic cells has a nuclear membrane that surrounds the nucleus, in which the well-defined chromosomes are located. Parts of eukaryotic cells include endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, nucleolus, plasma membrane, cytosol, ribosome, cytoskeleton, mitochondrion, Golgi Apparatus, and lysosome. Lysosome. Lysosome are membrane-bound organelles with rules and processes involved in degrading and recycling cellular waste, cellular signaling, and energy metabolism. Lysosome function as the digestive system of the cell, serving both to degrade material taken up from outside the cell and to digest obsolete components of the cell itself. Next is the endoplasmic reticulum, a network of membranous tubules within the cytoplasm of a eukaryotic cell continues with the nuclear membrane. It usually has ribosomes attached and is involved in protein and lipid synthesis. Endoplasmic reticulum function of lysosome is to produce proteins for the rest of the cell to function. Next is nucleus. A nucleus is a membrane-bound organelle that contains the cell's chromosomes. The nucleus function is to controls and regulates the activities of the cell and carries the genes structure that contain the hereditary information. Next is the nucleus. The nucleus is a round body located inside the nucleus of the eukaryotic cells. Nucleus is a dynamic membrane-less structure whose primary function is ribosomal RNA synthesis and ribosome biogenesis. Next is the cytosol. Cytosol is surrounded by the cell membrane and is part of the cytoplasm. It's those a liquid matrix around the organelles. Cytosol function is to provide structural support for other organelles in allowing transport of molecules across the cell. The next is the ribosomes. Ribosomes is a complex molecular machine found inside the living cells that produce proteins from an amino acid during the process called protein synthesis or translation. Ribosomes function is to decode the message and the formation information of peptide bonds. Next is the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is made of filamentous proteins and it provides mechanical support to the cell and its cytoplasmic constituents. The function of cytoskeleton is to help cells maintain their shape in internal organization and also provides mechanical support that enables cells to carry out essential functions like division and movements. Next is the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. It is enable eukaryotes to make more efficient use of food sources than their prokaryotic counterparts. Mitochondria are membrane-bound cells organelles that generate most of the chemical energy needed to powerhouse cells biochemical reaction. And last is the Golgi Apparatus, a stack of small flat sacs formed by the membranes inside the cell cytoplasm. The Golgi apparatus function is to transport and modify proteins in eukaryotic cells.